a fairly lengthy review. I go into some details later on, but I did want to just sort of give you the final impressions. Genuinely, this really is the best Tiny Whoop board that I've used. I think most of that is owed to the fact that it has an on-screen display. Having the ability to see my flight time and the battery voltage is really helpful and really makes the whole flying experience way easier. Some people have complained about range issues. I did replace the antenna. I don't think it was necessary. I do have my antenna oriented out like that. It kind of sticks above the board. I've seen some people have it laid down across the board and maybe there's some interference, but my range has been really pretty good. It hasn't been a problem at all for me on FrSky. Enjoy the rest of the review. This is the Beecore V2 provided to me from Banggood. I have the FrSky version, but it comes in other versions as well. It comes with the flight controller, pretty much every type of battery lead you would possibly need, and a number of mounting buttons and screws. It comes with more, I just am using them right now. What's new about V2? The biggest addition is an on-screen display so that you can use Betaflight OSD. It allows you to connect your camera through the V-in and V-out, your camera and VTX through those two, and use Betaflight OSD to tune your PIDs, to get RSSI readings, and to get voltage readings, and also to run your timer, which is actually what I find it most useful for. Seems silly, but it actually really helps. The other really nice thing is that it has the MPU 6000 gyro, which is nothing new, but it is the industry standard. So it's cool. This is the same thing you would have on your full-size drones or 5-inch quads, whatever you would fly around, and it's kind of cool to have it on your Tiny Whoop too. There are a couple of really nice things about this board. One is that the solder points are all through holes, so you can solder from the top of the board or the bottom of the board, which depending on what frame you're using, this comes in handy. It also really comes in handy for allowing you to solder your LiPo lead on one side and then your camera to the other. It does have a 5-volt regulator for your VTX and or camera. Personally, I think that most of the AIOs have their own 5-volt regulators and they manage noise just fine, so I wouldn't risk overloading the 5-volt regulator. I would just attach it to the LiPo port and run it off of that. If you find you really need to, it says that it can run up to a 25-volt VTX, but like I said, I wouldn't push that too hard. When you burn out the 5-volt regulator, my guess is the board will stop working. There are a couple of annoying things about this board. One is the location of the bind button. You're really close to where you might use a camera mount. That, in conjunction with where the antenna is located, usually there is an antenna mounted right here, it's right under where you would mount it, which is not ideal. It's easy to get around. I had it mounted on top, and I just had it fished out the side, and it worked just fine. I had no problems with range. A couple other annoying things, the locations of these capacitors. As you can see, I had an issue with this. I had a little fire when I crashed. I think that because they're located so close to a mounting point, that maybe when I crashed, I shoved them into each other. Although they are connected, I don't really know what the deal was, but they did cause a fire, and one of them just completely obliterated itself. It kind of almost vaporized into a puff of smoke. Fortunately, I had some boards that don't have Betaflight OSD on them, which I don't use anymore. This is a Pico BLX. Because it doesn't have an OSD, it's just not that useful to me, so I've been using it for parts. And I took one of these capacitors, which, I didn't check the ratings or anything, I just kind of crossed my fingers, and as it turns out, it worked just fine. It looks really ugly, and some of the traces were burned out, so I just kind of connected them together. Miraculously, it works. It still smells terrible, but, well, what are you gonna do?
Ooh, ma che bella. Gotta get a ooh, makes my body dance for ya. Ooh, ma che bella. Gotta get a ooh, makes my body dance for ya. I wanna hear your breath just next to my soul. I wanna feel oppressed without any rest. I wanna see you sing, I wanna see you fight, 'cause you are the real beauty of human rights. Ooh, ma che bella. Gotta get a ooh, makes my body dance for ya. Ooh, ma che bella. Gotta get a ooh, makes my body dance for ya. Nobody can beat the Mama Africa. You follow the beat that she's gonna give ya. Only a smile can all make it go. The separation of 1,000 more. Ooh, ma che bella.